This poor guy. I tore him to pieces. I'll show you how I did it. Stay tuned. Hi everyone, this is Kevin with Inventimart, and today I'm going to be showing you how to separate a model to make it easier to print. Like this right here would be really hard to print with one model. You'd have to have support everywhere. But there's ways that you can make it and separate the model into pieces so that you can print it in multiple parts and then put it all together later, just like by gluing it or something. But the first thing we do is we want to create an object that's the size of the part we want to remove. So I'm going to work on this arm here. So basically we want to make it so that we can print that as its own object, but we need to separate it from the model. And depending on how many parts, you want to make a excuse me, duplicate of the model. So let me turn on my keys here. So Shift D, we got another duplicate. So we're probably going to have 6 different pieces here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different versions of this model here. And so let's create a cube first. And move that up here. Size it. I want to get the right dimension and angle here. Just kind of rotate it and make sure that it kind of looks like it's going to separate halfway decent. And so it's not covering the entire arm, so we got to fix that. So we can split the box, make that a little bit bigger there. This doesn't have to be super fancy, it just has to completely surround the part that we're going to be basically chopping off. So that's entirely inside that box there. So the first thing we do is grab, doesn't matter which one, it could be any of them, add modifier, boolean, and you want to do intersect, and then that's the cube. So it basically just takes that cube, the intersection of the box, along with the model, and it just takes that and it creates that by itself. So we click on another version of the model, do another boolean, we want to do difference, and then do the cube again, and then it just has the entire model except for that arm. And so the main model that we're working with no longer has that arm. All the rest of them do. Which one was it? Yeah, this one here. It's number 4. So that's the one that we're going to be working with from now on here. So next let's do the head. So create another cube. Make it bigger. This one we can just kind of do right along the bottom there. That covers the entire head. So we want to select number 4. Make sure it's there. Add modifier boolean, difference. Actually no, I did this wrong. So we can delete all these extra ones that I made. So now we just have this one. So whenever you're doing it, you want to duplicate the same model, whatever you're working on with each step. So we want 2 of these. So we got this one and another one. So the first one you do is difference. It doesn't matter which order you do a magnet in, actually. So you can do difference, apply, then you select on the other one to do intersect, cube, apply. And you can just keep using the same cube too. So we should have 2 separate parts. But we're always going to be working with that same model that doesn't have anything attached to it. But you're always going to duplicate it whenever you're going to create more than one part from it. I haven't done this in a while, so thought I'd make a tutorial on it because it's quite handy if you're making a print and you need to split it up. Because the 3D printer that I'm building, the center part where the hot end sits on it, I had to make that into 3 parts. And this is the method that I used to do it. So we want to select the model we're going to separate the part from. We just have that one. Duplicate it so that we have 2. Add modifier, boolean, intersect, the cube. And if it's off a little bit, you can always adjust it before you do anything on the first pass. You can rotate it on X a little bit. Just move the excuse me, I don't know what's wrong with my throat tonight. Oh, that's a little bit better. And then once you get that moved, excuse me. Okay, sorry about that. So we got that. Then we do boolean and then difference on the cube. Then we have that taken care of. Now we have 4 separate parts. Now we can do the legs here. Let's actually just do the legs so you can print them all at one shot. You can just flip them upside down and then print the torso in the other direction. So let's turn this to 0. So the rotation. I hope I had numlock on. Move it a little bit that way. And that looks good. Just make the box bigger. Make sure it's covering the entire object from all angles. That looks like it is. And so we duplicate it. So we have 2 of these now. And then do the modifier. It doesn't matter which order you go in as long as you have that duplicated. You just want to make sure you duplicate it first, otherwise you're getting rid of half the model and you don't want to do that. So now we have this, and this. Oh, didn't want to move it there. But now we have all these objects that are ready to print. But what we can also do, now that we have them separated, we can actually make little pegs for them so that they sit properly. And so you can glue them together so they have a better chance of gluing. So what I like to do is I like to use little cylinders. So what we can do here, just kind of try to get a good angle on this. It's going to be too big around, but we can make it longer. Rotate it. rotate it that way. Try to get it oriented in there the best way you can, so that if you move one of the objects, you can see that it's in both of the parts. Like that. That looks pretty good. And what you can do with that is, just like before, is you can take the model, Boolean difference, cylinder, and so it adds that negative space to it. Apply. The same thing with this part, Boolean difference, cylinder, takes that negative space. And the important thing to do now is you have both of these parts with holes in them, and if you want to print out that cylinder, what you need to do is make it a little bit smaller, because the print's going to be a little bit bigger. So let's just change the scale back to what it should be by Control A and scale, and do 0.95. It's probably a little bit too big. Let's do 0.85. The z-axis is the one that usually doesn't need to matter that much, but you want to have it a little bit smaller. So that way we can use the same cylinder and just print out this little cylinder. It'd be kind of hard to print because it's so tiny, but this is actually a really small model to begin with. It's only 6 millimeters, but I'm just showing this as an example. It doesn't matter what size it is when you do it. So then we can change this all back to 0 for the orientation, so that it'll print properly now. We have it sized correctly, and we have both of these parts ready to print. Like this arm, you want to get that oriented and ready to print so you don't have to move around in the slicer. And first thing I like to do is set origin, center of mass. I usually like to try to line it up with the y-axis line. And you can try to find the flat spot to orient it here. There's no exact science to getting this accurate that I've found. Usually I try to do some kind of math to get it to be as close as possible, but sometimes it's just not possible. And that looks pretty level. But you can do that for all the objects, and if you look, it'll print with a little hole in there. And it's going to have support on that arm somewhat, but it's better than having a whole bunch of it on the entire model. So now you can take this off. This will print really easy. That one doesn't really matter that much, but you can rotate this one 180 degrees. Whoop. Way up there. Being that we cut it off completely flat to begin with, it oriented completely flat, so we know that that's going to have a flat bottom on it. And that should print okay. It probably have some support here. And the head's probably going to be a difficult print. Might have to have a little bit of support on there. But this is a really goofy model. It's just something I made in 5 minutes. But there's the head, and you can orientate that, and like the other arm here. Just rotate that. Let's set the origin first. Rotate it. hold down shift for more precision when you rotate stuff. Rotate regular, hold down shift, you can move a lot more detail. And that one's probably going to have a lot of support built into it too. And also you can put your own support in there too if you want. You can add to an object. Like just add a, say you have a 0.4 nozzle. And there we go. Put it there. See how small this model is? That's a 0.4 thickness there. You can kind of create your own support. Instead of having the slicer do it, but depends on the model. This is one I really don't care about because I'm not going to use it at all. But I want to have that as vertical as possible. And if it's not touching, you can just press, is it Control or Alt? Control J. And it'll have the object there. And it won't be touching, but it might try to put it in the slicer program when you do it. I really don't know. Let's go ahead and actually try it. So I'm going to export just that arm by itself. And selection only. I'll just call it tutorial 17 arm dude. Open up your bed here. Add it to it. And it shows up like that. Looks like it's manifold and everything. It's got the little, oh, don't know if that one has the support in it or not. Anyway, try to slice it. And it didn't show it with it. So that didn't work that time. That was Cura though. Let's try it with Slicer. Slicer usually takes a lot longer. I've been using Cura a lot more lately. Already had support on that one. Let's try no support. Where's that? Okay, so it worked with Slicer, but Cura it didn't work with. Oh. But Cura it usually has pretty good support on it. That's really weird, it's not doing any support at all. Make default. Huh. I might be having problems with Cura, but anyway, that's the basic tutorial for how to separate a model. You can actually even just separate these up more if you wanted to. Just go over it one more time real quick here. So we want to take this leg off. Because we know it's going to be hard to print on its own. So select the model that you want to split up, duplicate it once, do boolean, intersect, cube, apply, select the copy, difference, cube, apply. So then we have split that up again. And it's basically the simple and easy way to split up a model. Making the little hole in the bottom makes it a little bit more complicated, but it makes a little peg so you can put more glue and have more surface area for it to stick better. But anyway, that's pretty much all I had for today, and thanks for watching.